Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Leanna Senior Transition Support, specialists in downsizing and seniors residences.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. Matt Del Vecchio here, specializing in life transitions, downsizing in the senior living industry.
And I'm Corey Sirota, clinical social worker and author of Someone Died, Now What?
Corey, for those that don't know, I'm in the studio and you are at home, and we've first couple of weeks it was a rough go with some of the sound issues. We're slowly but surely getting them fixed up, but we're FaceTiming each other so we can see each other and have hand signals. And next time I'm going to record you bopping away to the side.
So funny. So having a good time. I love that song. Anyway, okay.
It is just you gotta bop around with that.
That's
right. International Women's Day coming up March 8th in a couple of days. We every year, Corey, we always dedicate part of our show to International Women's Day, and I was amazed, because this pandemic, it really has disproportionately affected women more so than men. Globally, it's a fact that women's job losses due to COVID-19 are actually 1.8 times more than men. And if you think about it, what sectors have been affected? Hospitality, retail, and the service sector. And
caregivers.
Caregivers, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you talk about caregivers, professions such as caregiving and teachers, nurses, social workers are predominantly women, and they are under the gun. They're under the enormous pressure. So I would really have to say, International Women's Day this year, more than most, if not ever, probably takes on a much greater significance than previous years.
Fair enough. I just think I'm sorry that we need to do an official day. I think every day should be International Women's Day, but that's just me, but that may be a few more than just me thinking that. And and Matt, that's why we do very specifically want to highlight a very, very special woman. And I will say that she's special because not only do I know her professionally, but personally, Samantha Kris was my TEDx coach and was phenomenal in helping me and carrying me through the process of being able to deliver a really spoken, not like I'm speaking right now, well-spoken presentation. So,
and I could attest to it. I saw you do that TEDx, and I was so proud of you, Corey. You knocked it out of the park, and obviously Samantha had some influence on that.
Without a doubt, this is a woman who does so much. Samantha is a best-selling author. She's an award-winning speaker, and she's the head of she's the head of people and culture at Gold Coast, which is a newer position that she's going to share some information about. Gold Coast is the world's leading empowering media company. Impassioned by elevating others, Samantha empowers people to step into their potential and create opportunities for success. It is my absolute pleasure to be interviewing Samantha Kris on our show today. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed, Samantha.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's such a pleasure.
So I just gave a long laundry list of things that you do so well. Can you tell us about your career path?
Oh my gosh, it has been quite unconventional and non-linear, but you know what? I think that's the case for a lot of people these days. I'm not sure that it's, particularly unique anymore, but I studied correctional intervention. I was an addictions counselor by the time I was 19, went into wedding planning, what I thought would be a brief kind of change in direction because I needed a little bit of a break. That opened the door to marketing. I ended up growing up in corporate, loved that environment, climbed the corporate ladder, earned 5 promotions in 5 years, fell in love with business, went into business for myself as a coach and consultant, really specializing in communication and change management. And like you mentioned, have recently gone back to a full-time position for my dream job at Goldcast.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting, Samantha, because I would say the trend would be the reverse. People with the pandemic have a little fed up with their corporate job and going out on their own. I'm raising my hand as one of those people that I did 4 or 5 years ago. And you are really making an impact at Goldcast. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But prior to that, You wrote a book called Bossing Up. You've got a community of people in Bossing Up. I just love the concept, and I love the support you're getting with it. What is it, and can you tell us about it?
Absolutely. So Bossing Up really started as a mentality. I was a new entrepreneur. I had no resources, no real clue what I was doing, to be honest. And I thought there got to be other people like me who have this ambition, who want to walk through doors, create doors where they don't seem to be apparent, and really link arms in creating opportunities for success. And so it was first this mentality of recognizing that there is more in you that you want to bring to the surface. And like you said, it evolved into this community. We are now about 4,000 members strong across the globe, predominantly Montreal-based still. And when I wrote the book, Bossing Up, it was for that community in mind. It was for the community of people who knew that they were meant for something greater, and that with a little bit of guidance, some actionable tools, and a community of like-minded people, that they could tap into that next level of their potential. And it's kind of taken a life of its own.
That's Samantha Kris, author, business coach, and marketing expert. She's here on Life Unrehearsed in honor of International Women's Day. I could not think of a better woman to be interviewing. So on top of everything else you're doing, you also do a wonderful podcast. It's called The Catalyst with Samantha Kris. Tell us about that.
Oh, the podcast is my biggest passion project. I love it so much. It is a platform dedicated to telling stories of challenge and triumph that accompany change. A big part of what I was doing when I was in business for myself and really focusing on building a business, a reputation, a brand for myself was change management. And although I dealt a lot, with people in the corporate space, what I realized very quickly as I was learning change management is that behind these corporate decisions and strategies are people with personalities, with insecurities, with uncertainties and desires. And there's a lot of fear and unknown and excitement, a really wide range of emotions that goes behind change. And so I really wanted to dedicate this platform and the podcast to telling stories of change that would hopefully inspire people and empower them to lean into it a little more readily so that they can explore and really feel confident in stepping into the unknown and walking into that next chapter of their life.
I've listened to a few of those, Samantha, and they're really, really good. I think, what are you up to? It's in the 50s now, isn't it, in terms of your
Yep,
number
we're
of
up there. I
podcasts?
think we just had our 57th episode. I've had the
Nice.
pleasure of having Corey on as well. It is a great show, I got to say.
No, good for you. You're doing a great job with that. Now, we're going to switch it up a little bit because you are so inspirational to a lot of women, particularly women in the business world, and you've had your challenges, and as much as that glass ceiling is slowly but surely getting broken, it is still there. We have to admit that. And you heard some of the stats we talked about how the pandemic has affected women. What about the difficulty of women in the business world? You've been affected. What do you suggest to women that are out there in the business world trying to make it?
Oh, this is a bit of a loaded question, and I have perhaps a bit of an unpopular answer. I would say that, I absolutely agree that the glass ceiling is real, and I don't want to discount the experiences that women have had. But in my experience, I have found that it is often most perpetuated by women themselves. And in conversations with women and women that I've worked with, I've realized that we have, at least from my experience and my observation, kind of created more of a ceiling and kind of put the idea in place that it is impenetrable on ourselves. And I've certainly faced my fair share of challenges, but I'm not convinced that those are challenges I wouldn't have faced if I wasn't a woman. And I'm really grateful that I've had some very strong women in my life that have empowered me to see beyond the barrier. And I think that linking arms and having strong female roles and women who you can look up to in your circle is absolutely important in helping to ensure that you can indeed get past that barrier, whether you're putting it there yourself or whether you're in an institution in which it is really being placed above you. But it is possible to break through it with the right support.
That's Samantha Kris, author, business coach, and marketing expert. I want to take it to a different, along the same lines. I'm going to say this. If you haven't seen a picture of Samantha is a beautiful blonde-haired woman. I want to know if you've ever not been taken seriously.
Oh, yes. Especially, yeah, especially because my name is Samantha. People call me Sam for short. And I've been to several conferences, client meetings, and people are saying, you know what, Sam is going to be here in just a second, or I've invited Sam, I hope that's okay. And in walks me when they're assuming a male Sam to walk through the door. And I've seen these looks of kind of like, oh, her? This is the one who's joining? And I got to say, there are a few things that I love more than being underestimated and confident that I'm able to deliver, because it's kind of fuel to my fire in that I know the value I bring to the table. And if there is that little bit of hesitation or doubt or any kind of preconceived notion about what I'm going to be like, I love seeing the shift in perspective, the shift in tone, in conversation, and in facial expressions when they see that I'm really capable of raising the bar.
Right, when they see that you have substance, right?
Right.
Has anybody ever asked you to get them coffee?
Yes. Yes, that has happened.
Leave it to Corey. Samantha, but it really is inspiring. And sometimes, as I'm listening, sheepishly, I'm listening, and because I don't think men experience the same things that women do. But I love your approach. It's okay. It is what it is. And you're going to just prove it to them. You're going to show them who you really are. And that's wonderful. And you talked about people that have inspired you. You have inspired many people. You're a role model to many women. But we want to hear about some of those people that have inspired you, because they have made a difference in your life, as we've talked about off air, and made you the person that you are.